Hello and welcome to another series of Workspace Meets. Today I'm joined by Katherine Bruce, Senior Sustainability Consultant at AESG. Katherine has worked on certifying well projects for office fit-outs here in the UAE. Welcome, Katherine.
Hi, morning, Lucy.
It's great to have you today. How are you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you. Just enjoying a day from home at work at the moment.
Ah, lovely. You're not back in the office just yet.
Starting in the office, we had our first day back yesterday, and we're going back one day a week now. So see how it goes.
Very exciting. Okay, so Katherine, if you could just tell us a little bit about how did you choose your career?
So I started my career back in 2014, and I was originally in the oil and gas industry. I worked as a chemical engineer there for a couple of years, and I always felt that I wanted to work in an engineering environment that was having a more positive impact on the environment. And after learning more about climate change, I realized that I wanted to focus my skills towards sustainability. So I went back to uni and I did a master's in sustainable engineering. And from there, I ended up with my current role at AESG, where I've been working now for nearly 3 years as a sustainability consultant, helping clients throughout the Middle East in improving their sustainability practices in the built environment.
Wow, that's amazing. So do you work with the clients from the very beginning of when they start their project?
Yes, usually, most times we start at the very beginning, and that's when you can have the biggest impact. So right at the concept design stage is where all the ideas are coming out and nothing has been completely defined yet. So you have a lot of scope to make an improvement in the project.
Yeah.
But we do work in sustainability across the whole chain. So a few projects I've worked on just in construction stage where it's more of a monitoring role and ensuring that they're meeting the compliance for the sustainability targets that the project have set. But definitely my favourite part is working right at the beginning, because that's where you can make the biggest difference.
Have a bit of an impact on them.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, wonderful. And so I suppose what's been the most challenging project you've ever worked on?
I think one of the challenging projects, particularly with the WELL building certification, is one of the projects that we were trying to achieve really high levels of indoor air quality inside the office. And we did a couple of tests inside the building, and they were having very high levels of formaldehyde. And this is a really carcinogenic chemical that can off-gas from different materials inside the environment. But we had made sure that all the materials were very good quality, that the air was being filtered, and we couldn't understand what was going on and why we were not achieving the low formaldehyde levels in the office. So it was a bit of an investigation project, in the sense of research and background reading to try and figure out what was going on, why are they not getting the formaldehyde levels lower. And we retested again after implementing different measures, and still the formaldehyde levels were high. So I spoke to a lot of the facilities management team and tried to figure out what was going on in the space. And it turned out that they were using this bleach and it was reacting with the soap. So they're using bleach and soap at the same time. And the two products that they were using, even as standalone products, they didn't contain any formaldehyde. What was happening was when they were reacting together, high levels of formaldehyde was occurring inside the space. And I only discovered this through a lot of research papers and trying to figure out the chemical reactions that were happening from these two chemicals. So I definitely felt like a bit of a detective trying to solve this problem. And when I realized that that could be a source of formaldehyde, I had to speak with the facilities management team and get them to change the way they clean the space. So still they can use the bleach, but don't mix the bleach and the soap together at the same time. And over the course of a few weeks, actually, the formaldehyde levels dropped in the space. So,
wow, that's amazing. And who knew it would have been something just so simple, like two very simple cleaning products to cause that challenge for you?
Yeah, exactly. It's wasn't expected, but when we figured out what the case was, then it was a bit of a relief that we managed to then certify the project in the end.
Yeah, definitely. Wow, amazing. Well done. So,
Thank you.
how does sustainability design better the workplace?
Well, I think, I mentioned a little bit before about this off-gassing, and that's probably a huge issue being inside, and especially being in offices where we have to be productive throughout the day. And the positive thing with considering sustainability is that the materials that we put inside our spaces, if they are sustainable, they inherently have low toxic chemicals, they have lower VOCs. They're better for the environment, but they're also better for us. Because materials that do have a lot of chemicals inside them, these volatile organic compounds or VOCs off gas in the environment. If you've been into a space that's been newly painted, for example, you know that kind of new paint smell, that chemical smell. So they're really bad for you to breathe in the short term. In the long term, they've been linked to asthma and a number of chronic diseases. So eliminating them from the design specifications in the long run will improve the indoor air quality of a space. And improving the indoor air quality then helps to improve the productivity of the employees. And then sustainable design also touches upon the way the efficiency of the building and the water consumption in the building. And if you're in a space that you know is better for the environment, then it does help to boost your overall morale if you're in a very productive space too.
Wow, that's really, really interesting. Thank you for sharing that with us. Definitely learned something new there. If you could share a success story about a recent project, what would it be? And what was it? And how did the client benefit?
I think probably one of the recent successes for the project, I mentioned sustainability really touches upon everything, and we do a lot of work with government entities. And this project in particular was slightly different from the construction industry, but more about sustainable policy. And we worked with a government entity that was interested in creating their own sustainability strategy that would be rolled out both within their organisation, but also across the sector that they were responsible for. And during the project, I met with a lot of stakeholders and conducted several different interviews with them, a materiality assessment to understand their needs. And that approach led to a lot of different insights to understand what was really important for them with regards to sustainability, but also making sure that it aligned to sort of the regional and international sustainable development goals. So kind of going from a top-down and also a bottom-up approach. I put together the sustainability strategy that would help improve their sustainability practices across 5 years, 10 years, and even for the future going forward. And I presented it to the management of the entity, and then that was then forwarded on to their executive directors, and it got approved. So it was really a big success that the final sustainable strategy was signed off with very little editing, and now it's going to be rolled into their practices moving forward. So it was really a great success and news to hear from the project at the end of the project.
That sounds fantastic. Well done. I can see you're at home at the moment. Do you prefer working from home or do you prefer working from the office?
To be honest, I've kind of gone up and down with working from home and in the office. I think working from home was challenging at the beginning because it was such a change in the environment, and I'm so used to having colleagues around me and be able to ask someone a question, or someone asked me a question. It was much quicker to get things done. But now we set up Google Hangouts, we message each other, we can get things done still in the same way. So it's really good if I've got a deadline. I like being at home because I can be completely focused. I don't have any distractions. I can just sit down and get a report done. But I definitely miss the social interaction from being in the office, and just having coffee breaks with people and being able to walk more. I'm definitely sitting down a lot more inside than I am being in the office. So I'd say like ideally like a balance between both would be ideal. So maybe having 2 or 3 days in the office and 2 or 3 days at home would be the best of both worlds.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's nice to have your space and get your head down, but it's also nice to be in the environment with your colleagues, which definitely can't be replaced at home.
Yeah, we're trying to do some e-coffee breaks, so we do video calls with coffees, but it's just not the same as speaking to someone over a screen than it in person.
Yeah, no, I like that though. It's a good idea. Okay, so final question. What inspires you?
I would say probably nature inspires me the most. I love being outside. I do a lot of hiking in my spare time, so my hobbies are usually spent outdoors, either in the mountains or in the countryside, even in the desert here in the UAE. But also from a design perspective, there's so much that we have learned from nature that we've incorporated in design. So the idea of biomimicry and how we can copy designs in nature in our spaces from a sustainability perspective is definitely really inspiring. So there's a classic example of a type of beetle in Africa that when it climbs to the top of a sand dune in the mornings, the way that its shell is formed, it actually condenses water from the atmosphere onto its shell to drink the water from the air. And that kind of material is now being used in some buildings to try and harvest the fog and water around in the mornings. So these kind of innovative designs, I think, are really interesting. And a lot of the very innovative designs have all come from nature. So encourage people to go out into nature more and be inspired from that.
That's amazing. I mean, how would I have known that? But that is honestly unbelievable. Are they using it here in the UAE?
Not any projects that I know about in the UAE. I think they're developing this material in China at the moment. They're using it for a lot of different buildings, but also different products over there. But by helping capture the water in the air, definitely would improve the water consumption in the region, because we consume probably one of the highest water consuming countries per person. So any kind of strategies to reduce our water consumption is definitely an interesting move.
Yeah, definitely. Wow. Well, that's really, really interesting. And I can see why nature inspires you. It's certainly beautiful to be out there. I mean, I do miss going for country walks in the UK. I don't know about you, but you can't beat it in the fresh air and the smell of fresh cut grass and
100%. Yeah, I definitely miss that.
Yeah.
The summertime over there. But it's been nice being in the region here. There's definitely a lot of spaces to explore that has really nice nature. I don't know if you've been out to like the Jebel J area or Ras Al Khaimah, some of the mountains up there, and the desert. It's a nice, I guess, alternative from the UK. But I do miss the nature.
It's a different kind of nature, but it's equally as beautiful.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, well, thank you so much for today. It was really lovely to talk to you, and it was very, very educational. I feel like I've learned a lot in the last 20 minutes that we've been talking, so thank you for that. And yeah, I mean, take care of yourself and have a lovely day.
Thank you. It was great to talk with you.